Hey guys, Kathy here. So it's my turn to answer Aaron's question, which was what's your favorite musical experience? And like most of you, I don't really have one specific moment that was like my favorite musical experience ever. So I thought it might be a cool and different approach to just talk about my favorite experiences thus far at UIUC. So yeah, hopping into it. There's a club called the Society of Amateur Chamber Musicians, and it's basically made up of anybody who plays, any instrument and wants to be in a chamber group. So, it's typically string people making quartets, quintets, and all that kind of stuff for pianists. And they're in any major. They can be in engineering, in psych, in, sociology, chem, bio, whatever. Any major. They take anybody. It's not like it's just a music major club thing. So I decided I would go check it out just out of curiosity. And I ended up joining a group that was, I think, a sextet. We had two violins, me on viola, a piano, guitar, and banjo, which is really awesome. And we decided to do a cover of One Republic's Counting Stars. So we looked online, we found all these different arrangements of it, and we sort of put them together and made what would work best for our group. So, one of my favorite experiences with that group was the first real rehearsal where we put it all together after, separately practicing. It was just really amazing to see all these people who are in other majors and, are going to do other things with their lives, but are still very passionate about music and want to keep it a part of their lives. And I think that's amazing, and playing with them, the energy that we had was just wonderful. So it was just a great time to, meet other people who really love music, even though they're not majoring in it, because I almost wanted to major in animal science. So it was just really cool. My other favorite musical experience was in a class that I took last semester, which was like Intro to International Music Perspectives or something. Basically, some kind of like intro history course. And we had this assignment in a discussion section once. We made groups of like three, four, or five people, whatever. We all brought our instruments that day, or, voices. And we were told that we had 15 minutes to compose a piece with all the members of our group, having never really played with them unless, you're in an ensemble with them in first semester, but still, you don't really have much experience creating music with them. So I have a recording of that class period actually, which I'm going to find out if I have permission to post under this video, so you can hear what happened. And it's really interesting. The first half is just all of us fiddling around on our instruments, trying to put something together. And it was really interesting to see the different ways that people went about it. They either started with like a chord progression or made up a melody and then came up with all the stuff underneath to support that melody. And in the end, we all just performed whatever we came up with for the class, whether it was like 30 seconds of music or, a few minutes, whatever was fine. And my group, we came up with a chord progression, and we had some singers that were singing along on random syllables, not any words. And my TA, she actually wrote a paper about Jason Mraz. So when she was listening to our group play this chord progression in the song, she said afterwards that the one thing that came to her mind when listening was the song I'm Yours by Jason Mraz, and that it fit perfectly. And we were like, what? That's so cool. So we played it again, and she got the whole class to start singing I'm Yours, and it really did work. All the lyrics fit with the song, and it was just like the coolest experience ever, composing and creating music in such a short time, but that worked just so well. It was just really cool because I've never really had experience composing before, but I've wanted to. So this was a good experience for me to like start delving into composing, maybe as a hobby or something if I choose to do it, since I'm an ed major, not a composition major. But it was just an awesome experience to see what everybody could come up with in such a short amount of time. I think if you hear the recording, you'll definitely understand why it was just such an awesome experience and how it just worked so perfectly and harmoniously. So I will try my best to get permission for that. As far as high school goes, my favorite musical moments were never like, oh, I got to play at Carnegie Hall or Tanglewood, or this performance was really cool and I got to meet all these famous performers. I can't pinpoint one specific experience in high school that was my favorite, but I know that all of my favorite experiences had one thing in common, and that was the relationships that I built with the people that I played with in each experience. So, for example, I was in the pit orchestra for most of my years of high school, and it was really, really stressful. Lots of work went into it, hours and hours after school. But in those hours after school, we all got to know each other so well, and we told each other stories, and we made all these inside jokes that we really became like a family by the end of the show. And not only getting to know each other by, talking and spending so much time together, but playing music with people requires a sort of intimate communication, as my high school orchestra teacher would say, that you can't really get from doing anything else. And the same also holds true with things like chamber groups that I did. Like I played in a quartet in high school, and we became really close friends because you just have to learn to trust each other when you play music with other people. So all that's part of the reason that I want to become a teacher when I graduate college, because the most important thing for me is building strong relationships with people through music and having all these experiences that you can't get anywhere else. And I want my students to know that they can trust me with anything, not just musical things like keeping the beat in front of an orchestra, but things in their personal lives that I might be able to help with. So there's my 2 cents for the questions for week 4, and I'm going to be next to post a question for the next week, but I'm going to save it for a separate video because I don't want this one to get too long and then not be able to upload it or something. So I will definitely do that at some point in the very near future. Happy posting, and I'm looking forward to what everybody else has to say. Toodles!